Hi, family. Welcome back to another episode. I hope that you've been enjoying what you've been hearing lately. If you have, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. I also hope that you've been enjoying some of the sit-down videos I've been making lately. Hopefully, I can keep up producing one a week, but don't hold me to that. Now sit back and enjoy the show. It was a beautiful day. My aunt had just gotten married, and we were partying at the reception. The reception was on an old farm. And that night, we all spent the night there in the old farmhouse. Too hyper and wound up from about 7 to 10 caffeine-filled sodas, us kids could not get to sleep until probably around 2 in the morning. The last people still awake in the house were me and my cousin Annie. We were still laughing and joking when suddenly we stopped, almost simultaneously. Amy asked me what I was listening for, and I said, "Don't you hear that?" She answered with a funny look on her face, "Yeah." We could both hear pots and pans moving in the kitchen. We peeked around the corner and saw an open bottle of whiskey. After that, we tried to go back to sleep, but the sound of liquid being poured into the glass woke us again. We noticed that some of the whiskey in the bottle was gone. After about half an hour of no noises, me and my cousin were almost asleep when we heard a man clear his throat. We decided to go into the kitchen and find out what was going on. But when we peeked around the corner, into the dining room, we saw a chair facing us. The scary thing about that was, my grandmother always pushes the chairs in before going to bed. Next came the scariest part. The cat came running around the corner from behind us and sat in front of the chair meowing as if there was someone there in that chair that the cat saw that she wanted to pet her. The very next morning we told everyone about it, and then my mom made a comment that my grandfather had died exactly 3 years from that night. Chills went up my back. I wonder if that was my grandfather checking in on us on his daughter's wedding day. Story 2. Promises. I've always liked the idea of ghosts, but I never really believed until my pop died early in 1990. I was always close to my pop and would visit him at least twice every day. He died very suddenly in January, just as my family was about to move into a new house. As I said, we were a close family, and all of my aunts and uncles came over to help us fix up the house. Since my pop helped with a weekly bingo game down at the Legion Hall, he left suddenly, and I didn't get to say goodbye to him. Later that night, after bingo, he died in the parking lot of the Legion Hall. I didn't find out about his passing until the next day. Now, my pop always said that he would see our new house finished and be around to see all 13 grandkids married. He never got to see either of those things happen. We moved into the house and lived there for 3 years with no problem. Then my grandmother died. After that, the footsteps started. I would be in bed late at night, and I'd hear someone walk around the kitchen. And then down the hallway to the bedroom. They would stop at each of the 3 bedrooms, as if checking the rooms, and then walk to the closet, and the steps would disappear. This happened at least once a night, at 2:25. The same time, my Nan died in the hospital. I know this has to be my grandfather, my pop, looking for Nan, because she stayed with us for 2 years before she died. Also, if you're alone in the basement and no one is upstairs, you can hear 2 people talking and walking around. Every now and then, you'll get a smell of something baking. Pop always loved our homemade treats, even if there's nothing baking in the house and hadn't been for days before. When I asked my mom about the walking, she said she knew it was Pop because when I was born, he told her that he would always take care of me, always. Mom knows for a fact that he will keep his promise, and I do too. Story 3. Home. This all began when I was 2, and my family moved into a new home. Although the real paranormal stuff didn't start until I was 6. When I'd go to sleep, I'd feel a magnetic feeling, like the hairs were standing on their own, on end. This naturally caused me not to want to sleep in my own room. I felt like the spirits were living in my closet. When I was 10, I started sleeping in my room again, and that is when the feeling started once more. I started hearing voices talking late at night. That lasted for a couple months, and then I saw a figure in my room. She looked like a woman in her 50s. My dad says he sees her too. He wakes up at 5 every morning. She likes to hide things from us and move things around the house. In May, I got sick, and I was asleep, and I woke up, and I saw a white mist. And when I was brushing my hair that day, I distinctly heard voices. Fed up, I went to a lady called Destiny, who supposedly was psychic and had a gift for talking to spirits. She told me that the lady I was seeing had a child, and it had died, and that she had killed herself in my room, and that is why I see her, and that is why my room is always the coldest room in the house. Story 4. The Funeral Home House. Our house used to be a funeral home about 70 years ago. The embalming took place in the basement, and the bodies were viewed in the first floor. The living quarters, when it was a funeral home, was on the second floor. There were 2 old ladies who used to own the place before my grandfather bought it. My mother said that one of the old ladies had actually died there. They were sisters, apparently. Our story in the house starts with my oldest brother and one of his friends. They were playing on the first floor of the house when they heard footsteps coming up the basement stairs. The basement stairs were located off the kitchen in the laundry room area. The door was one of those sliding doors that made a lot of noise when you moved it. They were the only ones in the house that day. Our parents were at work. The door started to slide open. They got scared and ran to his friend's house until our parents got home. My brother told my parents what had happened, and they just laughed it off and said, "Oh, don't worry about that." My grandparents lived with us till a few years ago. They lived on the second floor. My brother-in-law wanted something from upstairs, but did not want to go up there. My mom said that if we wanted it, we had to go get it ourselves. So we did. There are stairs that lead from the second floor. The stairs are a flight of 13 steps. We walked up the steps and went in the door on the right. When we went in the door to my grandma's room was open about 6 inches and suddenly slammed shut. There should have been no one upstairs at the time. My grandfather was at work, and my grandmother was visiting other relatives. We ran downstairs and told my parents what had happened. They went upstairs and told us that absolutely nothing was upstairs. Then all of a sudden, the door to the basement slid open and slammed shut. It got really cold in that room, and the footsteps on the basement stairs started up. It lasted about 15 minutes, up and down the stairs, and then stopped. We never figured out who or what was haunting our old funeral home house.